What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey, still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. You don't like it, you can have that seat.
What a day. What a day. The amount of raging on the internet by the ill-informed is freaking hilarious. So, unless you've been living under a rock, Eurogamer has put out a new Nintendo Switch article to which they pretty much confirmed that the leaked Nintendo Switch specs from about a month or so ago are indeed legit, or at least as far as the last dev kits that they got information on. So, let's go over what that dev kit said, or at least this is the briefing that Nintendo has been sending developers. So as far as the CPU, 4 ARM Cortex A57 cores, max 2 gigahertz. All right. Now that's not including the probably other 4 cores of A53s, but they don't usually, some sites list those and some sites don't, because they're kind of like supplementary cores, and they don't really do much. They're kind of like, they just kind of like pass the ball. Just pass the ball. They pass the ball. They don't really do much. Okay, GPU, 256 CUDA cores, maximum 1 gigahertz. Architecture, NVIDIA 2nd generation Maxwell. Okay, 4 gigs of memory bandwidth, 25.6 gigabytes per second. All right. USB 2.0 and 3.0. Video output 1080p at 60 frames per second, and also support for 4K at 30 frames per second. 720p LCD, 10-point multi-touch support. Now, according to what Eurogamer has heard, that's legit, but they have information on the actual clock speed for the system, or at least based on their current information. Now, in typical Nintendo fashion, the system will reportedly be not clocked at the max speed of the chip. Nintendo never does this, by the way. So, the CPU, when docked and undocked, will run at the same clock speed, which is roughly 1 gigahertz. Okay. Now, during the undocked mode, the GPU rather, will run at a significantly lower clock than docked, which honestly should have been a freaking given. But anyway, so docked, the GPU runs at 768 megahertz. Undocked runs at about 302 megahertz, right? So the CPU clock speed stays the same, so that pretty much they don't have to make major changes to the game when undocked outside of possibly resolution. So the CPU clock speed stays the same at all times. As soon as you undock the system, the GPU goes down, because docked, it's displaying at 1080p. Undocked, it's displaying at 720p. Doesn't require as much horsepower, and also that's to save the battery and keep it from overheating. Now, like I said before, this should have been a given, that there was a portable mode and a docked mode, which we confirmed this already. And 2, that of course is going to be downclocked somewhat, actually a lot. Now, a lot of people seem to be surprised that the GPU would be downclocked so low, but if there was no huge difference between the portable mode and the dock mode, why even have 2 different modes? That doesn't make sense. So obviously it's gonna get downclocked when it's in the portable mode, like the undocked mode. Like that's a given. I don't see why people are tripping over this. But I seen other people getting mad that Nintendo didn't use the full capacity, the highest clock speed, theoretical clock speed of these chips. But Nintendo never does that. Ever. Okay. Now, I don't know if that's to keep chips from overheating or they're more stable at that point. Like I know, for instance, with the Wii CPU, the theoretical maximum for the chip was 900 megahertz. But in IBM's own PDF file for the chip, which I read, the recommended speed was around 800 megahertz. And they had their speed at about 729. Like Nintendo plays they go the safe route. So even though this chip could be clocked that high, maybe for Nintendo's purposes, they thought maybe that was a little too high for either the battery or for the system to run safely without overheating. Now, with it clocked so low, especially on the CPU, because the CPU maximum clock speed was actually 1.9 gigahertz, and it's clocked around 1 gigahertz. Now, for them to have it clocked that low and still apparently need a fan, that might tell us right there that we don't really know everything that's really going on with these chips. We still, even according to the Digital Foundry article, we still don't know what kind of customizations that they have added to the chip. They said their sources have told them that there was a lot of could be Pascal type upgrades to this chip. There's still a lot about this that we don't know. This will give us pretty much a vague picture of what to expect, but we still really don't know everything there is to know about these chips yet. Add to the fact that this is the first time that these chips have actually been in a dedicated non-Android tied system. So we really didn't even see what the chip was capable of, even in any of the Shield devices, because they were tied to Android. Now, when this system has these games coded to the metal and to take full advantage of what the chips can do, then we will see. Now, a lot of people are worried. They're like, oh man, this means we're not going to get third-party support. What? So let me get this straight. So the third parties have been praising the system, talking about how much they want to make games for the system. We find out the specs, and all of a sudden you think that's just going to go away. Them niggas know the specs too. They knew before you. So if they have no problem with it, maybe you shouldn't either. Have that seat.